What if the reason you feel exhausted has nothing to do with how much you're doing and everything to do with how much you're holding on? Think about that for a moment. Most of us walk around believing that energy is something we earn through rest, good food, or a lighter schedule. We think if life would just slow down, we'd finally feel alive again. But Michael Singer in Chapter 5 of The Untethered Soul offers a radically different view. He says the energy inside you is not finite. It doesn't have a daily limit. It doesn't clock out. The source flowing through you is by its very nature infinite energy. And the only reason you're not feeling it right now is because something inside you is blocking the flow. You are the dam. Your resistance, your worry, your grip on past experiences, that's what's draining you, not your life, not your circumstances, you. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. In this video, we're going deep into Chapter 5 of The Untethered Soul and unpacking exactly how Singer explains this, what's really happening when we feel drained, and how releasing your inner blockages can restore access to the boundless energy that's already living inside you. Let's get into it. Singer opens this chapter with a bold claim that most people have never seriously considered. He says that the energy available to human consciousness is not limited, not a little limited, not somewhat limited, completely unlimited. He draws on the idea that there is a constant flow of energy moving through all living things, a life force, a current, and that this energy, by its very nature, never runs dry. The problem isn't the supply, the problem is the blockage. Think of it like a river. A river doesn't run out of water because it's been flowing too long. It stops flowing freely when something gets in the way. A fallen tree, a pile of rocks, debris accumulating over time. Singer says the same thing happens inside us. Every time we resist an experience, every time we refuse to let a thought or emotion pass through us naturally, we throw another rock into that river. We create a dam. And over time, that dam grows. We worry about the future. We replay conversations from the past. We hold tightly to old pain, old grievances, old identities. Each one of those acts of holding is an act of blocking, and blocking requires energy. This is the crucial insight Singer wants us to land on right here at the beginning of the chapter, that exhaustion is not what happens when we use too much energy. Exhaustion is what happens when we waste our energy trying to hold things in place that were never meant to be held. The natural state of your inner world is flow, and when you fight that flow, you lose energy you never had to lose in the first place. Here's something Singer points out that is genuinely uncomfortable to sit with. When you look at two people facing the exact same life, the same workload, the same challenges, the same pressures, one of them might feel completely drained, while the other seems to move through it with ease and even joy. We tend to explain this away by saying one person is naturally more upbeat, or maybe they just got lucky, or perhaps they haven't faced real hardship yet. But Singer pushes back on all of that. He says the key difference between a person who feels constantly tired and a person who radiates genuine energy is not their circumstances. It's not even their personality. It's how freely they allow energy to move through their consciousness. The tired person is fighting. They're resisting what's happening, arguing with reality, replaying problems, bracing against discomfort. Every moment of internal resistance is a moment where their energy is being consumed not by living, but by struggling against living. The energetic person, by contrast, has learned, consciously or not, to let experiences move through them. They feel things fully and release them. They don't carry yesterday's tension into today. They don't pre-suffer tomorrow's problems. Singer isn't saying energetic people don't feel pain or difficulty. They do, but they don't dam it up inside. They let it flow. And because they're not spending energy maintaining internal blockages, the natural current of life moves through them freely. That current is what we feel as vitality, enthusiasm, and presence. It's not something they manufactured. It's something they stopped blocking. Singer gets very specific in this chapter about the mechanics of how we block our own energy. And it comes down to one word: clinging. When something happens to us, a criticism, a loss, a moment of embarrassment, there's a natural process that should unfold. The experience arises, we feel it, and then it passes. That's the design. That's how the system is supposed to work. But most of us interrupt that process. Instead of letting the experience complete its journey through our consciousness, we grab onto it. We turn it over and over in our minds. We analyze it, re-feel it, build stories around it. We decide it means something about us. And in doing that, we pull that experience out of the flow and lodge it inside us like a splinter. Singer calls this a blockage, a place in your inner world where energy has gotten stuck. And here's what makes this so insidious. The more you cling, the more energy you have to spend maintaining that blockage. Keeping an old wound alive takes effort. Keeping a resentment warm takes effort. Keeping an anxious story running in the background of your mind, day after day, takes effort. It drains you constantly, even while you sleep. These mental and emotional patterns that we grip so tightly, they aren't just psychologically uncomfortable. They are literally energetic drains. They are the reason you can wake up from 8 hours of sleep still feeling exhausted. Your body rested, but your inner world never stopped working, never stopped holding, never stopped blocking. Singer wants us to see this clearly, not to judge ourselves, but to finally understand the real source of our depletion. So if clinging is the problem, then release is the solution. And Singer spends meaningful time in this chapter describing what it actually means to let go. Not as a passive shrug, not as pretending things don't matter, but as a genuine inner act of releasing your grip on the patterns that are consuming you. He explains that when you stop trying to control your inner experiences, when you stop forcing emotions down or pushing unwanted thoughts away, something remarkable happens. The energy that was being spent on suppression and resistance becomes available again. It's like pulling the rocks out of the river. The current rushes back. And this isn't just a metaphor. Singer is describing something you can actually experience in real time. When you feel yourself tensing up around a thought, when you notice your chest tightening, your jaw clenching, your mind starting to spin, there's a choice available to you in that moment. You can grip tighter, or you can consciously relax your hold, not fix the thought, not resolve the emotion, just let it be there without fighting it. Let it move through. Singer says this act of releasing, practiced consistently, is what stops the energy leak. Every time you choose not to hold on, you reclaim a piece of your natural vitality. Every time you let an experience flow through, rather than anchoring it inside you, you reduce the load your system is carrying. Over time, those blockages begin to dissolve. The river clears, and the infinite energy that was always there, always flowing, begins to move through you freely again. Singer brings chapter 5 to its deepest point here, and it's both simple and profound. He says that true infinite energy is not something you acquire. It's not something you build up through discipline or earn through spiritual practice. It is what remains when you stop blocking it. Inner freedom is the source. When you are willing to release your resistance to what is, when you stop fighting your experiences, your emotions, your circumstances, you naturally align with the flow of life moving through you. And that flow is infinite energy in its purest form. This is what Singer means when he talks about the heart opening. It's not a sentimental idea. It's a description of what happens when the blockages dissolve and energy moves freely through the center of your being. You feel alive. You feel present. You feel like yourself in a way that doesn't depend on everything going right, because the energy isn't coming from outside conditions anymore. It's coming from the unrestricted flow within you. Singer is clear that this is a practice. It requires ongoing willingness, a daily, sometimes moment-to-moment choice to release rather than resist. But the more you practice, the lighter you feel, the less you carry, the more freely life moves through you. And what you discover, and this might be the most important thing in the entire chapter, is that you were never actually running low on energy. You were just spending all of it fighting yourself. Stop fighting. Open up, and what you'll find there is the infinite energy that has been waiting for you all along. Thank you so much for watching. If this chapter resonated with you, we are just getting started with the Untethered Soul. There is so much more wisdom in this book to unpack together. If you want to keep going deeper into these ideas, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. This journey is worth staying with. I'll see you in the next one.